Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this. This is your weekly TNA Impact Wrestling review. I'm LK from KocoSports. Every single fucking time.
Every fucking time. The second we start, it's like, oh, fucking, let me sing you the song of my people.
God, the most unprofessional start to every show ever. That's like the other interesting. But I am LK, and I'm joined by my partner in crime, as always, Sammy. Sammy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Besides that fuck up. Dude, I'm so fucking tired right now. I blew out my knee yesterday, and I'm icing that shit down. It's been fucking fun. But wrestling, fucking TNA, let's rock and roll.
What'd you give it? Win, loss, or tie? And everyone in live internet infantry, put in the comments you think the show's a win, loss, or tie. And if you're not watching live, you can still comment. Don't be scared. Drop the comment. So what'd you give the show? Win, loss, or tie?
I probably would give it a solid tie again. It still had some couple issues to me, but more of the characters are starting to come out, and I'm seeing more people that I do enjoy. I think I really like Trevor Lee. He's definitely one of them. But I enjoyed my time. I don't feel like I wasted it.
I'm gonna give it a win. If I gave Lucha Underground a win, I have to give this a win. I really, really did enjoy this show. I love Eli Drake, so that's another reason for me to be pumped. I'm happy he's in the main event scene properly. I loved everything. Everything has a direction, and you know where it's going, and you're actually excited to see where it goes, and the Hardy stuff is still entertaining as fuck.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all.
We'll break it down anyway. So Eddie Edwards comes out. He's the world champion. He cuts I'm going to be honest, quite a dull and boring promo where if you're not paying attention and taking notes, you can just literally just turn that channel over because it's very dull and boring. And I love Eddie Edwards.
It was a standard, I'm the champion, and I'm a fighting champion, and I'm y'all's champion. Rinse and repeat.
Yeah, just nothing interesting. And then my boy Eli Drake comes out. And I'm going to be honest with you. If I listed to you right now my top 5 sports entertainers, not pro wrestlers. If I gave you my top 5 sports entertainers, I would legit say Eli Drake is in that top 5. And that is a shoot. Not even a lie.
Huh,
I love
fair.
it. I absolutely adore the guy. So he comes out, he cuts a good promo saying he will leave world champion, and I love his line of, it's not an insult, it's just a fact of life. EC3 comes out, and again, if I had my top 5 sports entertainers, EC3, Eli Drake, Randy Orton, Undertaker, and I don't know. Speaking of Taker's on SmackDown Live next week. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be hopefully pretty cool.
It just depends what they do. EC3 comes out, cuts a good promo, saying Eli Drake isn't ready. Mike Bennett and Maria come out. Maria's wearing a very nice skirt. She looks very tidy in that, I must say myself.
Usually she looks like she is our textbook definition of a whore. She is like, when I think of a wrestling whore, I think of Maria Menounos, or not Maria Menounos, but Maria Kanellis.
Oh no, I think of her too. With Maria, she's actually announced that she won't be wrestling. She won't be a part of the wrestling business after this year. So once these tapings are done, that's her done. She won't be doing any tapings anymore. Yeah, it's just like we're getting Brie Bella retiring, Maria retiring, all in 1 year. Oh, I am such a lucky 2016. What a year to be alive. Who cares? Who cares? Donald Trump's president. Maria won't be in a ring anytime soon. Bennett cuts a okay promo saying he'll be the number one contender after tonight. Drake then gets into EC3's face, calling him a dummy, etc. Bennett then beats in EC3. Drake beats on Edwards. Moose comes out. Heels get out of there. I like how they're also, even though they're continuing Edwards and Drake, they're still going back to EC3 and Drake, and they're continuing that story. Like, if this was WWE, it would have just been, no, it's done, that story's done. Yeah, whereas this is like, even though it's finished, it doesn't mean that, like, in theory, if I, like, for instance, say a guy came on this show and we hated him, and then he came back in a year, and it's like, oh, he's new, but we still hate him. So it's kind of like this. Like, even though it's past, they still bring up, like, I still hate you. It's not going to change just because our rivalry's over, which I did like. And the promos are okay. And again, it's just getting to know the characters. So what did you feel about the opening segment?
I love EC3. He's easily the person that I enjoyed the most on TNA thus far. One of my biggest problems with Eddie Edwards, and maybe this because I haven't been watching very long, as I look at him, I look at his promo skills and his in-ring ability. Not that either of them are really lacking. I look at his physical look, and I think the guy's super talented. I just don't see him as a champion, personally. And maybe that's because I don't have the history to go along with who Eddie Edwards is. And that can make a big difference, a huge difference. Look at Sami Zayn, for instance. You look at Sami Zayn, like, yeah, it's really good. And you look at his last TNA NXT run before he got the championship, and he was phenomenal. So I really, really, in that regard, I really like EC3 a lot. I think he can deliver in the ring. I think he's extremely talented on the mic. He is a really underrated mic worker. And you said, man, my knee is throbbing right now. It's super cool. I got ice on it. It's super cool. I don't understand Moose yet. Moose, for me, it depends on the day. It just depends on the day. The promo, like this, unfortunately, the segment itself was almost completely unforgettable. But one thing you said that I really liked is that now that quote rivalry is over, we're not forgetting it. I don't even know if I'd say it was over, because I think they still definitely have unfinished business, and I do like that. And not even just WWE, but most wrestling companies just kind of forget that. Once you do it, it's over and done with. And like when fucking Kevin Owens first made his appearance on the main roster, when he first wrestled John Cena, he was picking like 4 or 5 fights at the same time, and I love that. I love it. So I did like that, made that nod here. But all in all, it was forgettable, but it was enjoyable.
I agree with Moose. And that leads to our first. It's basically, there was 4 qualifying. They did an awful job, by the way, of explaining this. If it wasn't for the graphic on the screen, I'd have no fucking clue what was going on.
Not at all.
It was a qualifying match. I bet Vince was like, they got those screen captures. It was they have 4 qualifying matches where the winners would get into a match, I'm guessing next week, and I'm guessing a fatal 4-way to determine the number 1 contender. They did not promote the show next week as a fatal 4-way number 1 contenders match, and that's what they're qualifying for. That, to me, I just felt a bit out of the loop, and I didn't like that. But it was Moose versus Mike Bennett. This is a long rivalry, but again, I don't think the commentators did a good enough job at selling this. Like, Bennett is the guy who brought Moose to the company, and then Moose turned on Bennett. Yeah, you wouldn't know that if from Matthews. I hate them.
One of the issues with the company in general is that their commentary is pretty terrible. It's bad. Like, people really want to shit on WWE, but the only reason WWE quote is bad is that they're given so much stuff that they have to plug. As far as actually commentating on a match, they're pretty good about keeping you informed. Here, this was pretty piss poor through the entire night. Every night I've watched, one of my main complaints has been fucking how bad Matthews and whatever the other guy's name is. I couldn't even tell you what his name is.
Do you remember Elijah Burke from ECW in 2007 and 8?
Loosely.
06. Okay, well, he had that new breed gimmick, that new breed faction, and he was in that. And then he came to TNA. He was called the Pope D'Angelo De Niro. And then he's commentary, and he's making me want to blow my brains out every time I turn on Impact.
He's pretty awful.
It's an immediate setback, because you turn on okay, Impact. I'm looking forward to this. Eli Drake's. Oh, they're commentating, aren't they? And it's just such a letdown. I want Mike Tenay. I know Taz has his daily Taz show, which is the only show I listen to. I think he's fucking hilarious.
Taz is pretty great.
Hilarious, and I sat there and thinking, I just miss Mike Tenay and Taz so much. Like, it was imagine Mike Tenay. I don't know. You obviously didn't watch TNA then. From WCW, him and Taz bouncing off each other, and they're really good friends in real life, so they could bounce off each other really well. It added so much. It added so much to the show, and I missed them so much. Matthews is the reason Taz left. The son of a bitch. Yeah, fucking. Who would pick Taz over Matthews over Taz? Fuck me sideways.
Not this guy.
Anyway, Moose and Mike Bennett. Hebner throws Maria out. I still love old Hebner when he goes crazy. I find him so fucking funny. Moose hits a pretty nice pop-up powerbomb and senton. Bennett hits a pile driver, which should be the finish of every single match. And I hate it when people kick out pile drivers because you're spiking them on their head.
The pile driver, kicking out of a pile driver bothers me more than kicking out of a DDT.
I would maybe even a finisher, depending on what your finisher is. I think a pile driver should just end the match. Because in Mexico, when we're going to be reviewing Lucha Elite after this show, the pile driver, majority of the time, if it's a 6-man tag, it gets you a fall.
Yeah.
Or if it's a 1-on-1, it wins you the match.
Yeah, it's a finisher. It's definitely a finishing. That's something I wish more, and they definitely do it in Lucha, and I've got this whole thing planned for when we get there. And maybe so much in Japan. I don't get to watch as much Japanese as I would really, really enjoy. But there are moves that aren't signature finishing moves that are match enders. You're a pile driver. You're a package pile driver for sure. They love that sumbitch in Mexico. And from what I understand, people told me it's kind of the same way with the DDT in Japan, and that there's a lot of people that use it, but if you use it, that's ball game. It's game over. That's something I'd like to see more Western audiences use.
I agree. You're getting spiked on your head, and it's not believable. I always talk about believability. I just don't see it as believable. They exchange some super kicks until Bennett hits a cutoff for 2. Moose misses a spear, which Bennett moved, and then he landed on the steps, and Bennett got in the ring to win by count out. I can understand that, obviously, them wanting to protect Moose. They're paying a lot of money for this Moose, and I don't see it. I don't see it.
It depends on the day. Like, the last time I reviewed this with you, I was like, I don't really see the appeal in this guy. And I saw a lot more tonight, but I don't know how much they're paying him either, truth be told. I see a lot of potential with him. How about that? I can see potential of somebody they could really trust with their company. When Lashley decides that he's done, I could definitely see him stepping into that slot. But he's not getting that spot until Lashley's done.
I wouldn't mind seeing, they've been teasing this for a while, Lashley versus Moose. Like, I wouldn't mind that. But star rating wise for that, I gave it a 1.5, maybe 2. Yeah,
2.
I got 1.5.
I enjoyed it.
It wasn't bad. I was just annoyed at the lack of history, the commentators. This should have been a big deal. This is a big deal. This was a Bound for Glory, which is their WrestleMania match only a month ago.
Oh, really?
If that. Yeah, in October. Unbelievable.
Damn. See, I wouldn't have known if you hadn't told me. Wouldn't have had any fucking clue.
Al Snow's in the back. He cuts a promo, basically screaming he's back, and I'm pretty sure he's higher on something.
I mean, it's Al Snow. I didn't even realize it was fucking Al Snow until I heard it. He looks rough. I also did not know he was in TNA.
He's right. Here's a little thing for you, in case you didn't know. They have an NXT, which is called Al Snow's Global Wrestling Academy. They get trained in the 6 sides, and it's all okay. They announced they called it their Global Developmental Center.
Yeah, come on now.
Fuck me. They wish their WWE so bad. I wish Dixie's
that's fucking TNA's biggest downfalls. They really don't want to beat TNA, or they don't want to beat WWE. They want to be WWE, and that's I have no doubt in my mind that's a lot of the reasons that they got some problems.
It's insane. Then we had Jeff Hardy's riding a motorcycle to the Hardy compound. Rebby, whatever her fucking name is, says Matt could have amnesia. I'm thinking, this is going to be funny. So Matt Hardy is wearing granddad clothes. Like, if you picture a granddad or an old man, that's what he's wearing. And he's building another dining room. Now, if you saw the size of this house, you would think that's funny. So Jeff comes in, and he basically tries to restore his memory, and it doesn't work. And it's absolutely hysterical.
It's fucking weird. Once I realized, okay, I kind of get what they're doing now. It was pretty funny.
We had the Tribunal come out, and this was the low point of the show for me personally. They bring out Al Snow. The Tribunal turned on him, saying they never needed Snow. Snow says they wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for him, which is a great point. Tribunal then beat down on Snow, and then Shearer comes out. Shearer, he beats on the Tribunal. And this, again, they did not explain this. Al Snow had a rivalry with Shearer. That was a huge rivalry. Al Snow even had a match against him.
It's just piss poor commentary. Piss poor.
Because that's why he came out and he was kind of looked a bit like, do I help? Do I not help? Because he's like, Snow wants to beat the shit out of me, but, he's still, and it's just, they didn't explain it at all. They beat on Mahur, kicking him in his Indian cock, and that's about it. It really wasn't nothing else but that. And it's just, okay, here's 2 guys from NXT who were, let me explain to this, fired for being shit, and they're on TNA, and that's just, it's sad. If this is me and I'm working with these people, I'm like, there's a reason why they were fired, Dixie, you dumb whore. Crying out loud, and their promos were awful. They don't look good.
I like their look, but that's quite literally where the end of my interest in them ends.
I didn't even like their look. I liked their look in NXT. I thought they looked a bit, Sylvester Lafort looked like he was the man. Here they're just, let's try and be the Shield. That's what everyone does these days, isn't it? Let's try and be the Shield.
Well, at least with the Authors of Pain, I fucking believe that they're scary.
Yeah, these guys I just see as people who got fired from a developmental system, which I find amusing. And then we have Jesse Goddard. He's in the parking lot, and he's screaming and he's waiting to beat the shit out of Aaron Rex. And what I liked about this promo in particular is he said, this isn't the ring, this is backstage, there is no rules. So it actually feels like, okay, there is a parking lot. It's not just, this is what I love about TNA and what I like about Lucha Underground is, when you watch the show, you think, oh my God, I wonder what they're doing backstage. Like when you watch WWE, you're like, oh, I bet they're just walking around backstage, shaking hands, playing video games for up, up, down, down. But when you watch
love up, up, down, down.
When I'm watching TNA, I'm thinking, oh my God, they're fighting backstage and they're, trying to team up with each other backstage and digs at each other and brawls. Like it feels like there's a backstage environment, which is what I love and adore of TNA, and they don't get enough props for that.
No, it's just their backstage stuff in general, I think, is pretty damn good because they don't present it like a wrestling show. They present it like it's the backstage stuff is
real life.
Like it. Yeah, and I really, really like that. God, I had him at the point I was going to. Yeah, it's just that being said, there are some still really shitty backstage promos that they do. There's one later on tonight that was fucking painful. Oh God! Hey, here's a question I have for you. Do you think that Billy Corgan was supposed to be in this show, and they might have cut him out since he got fucked?
Maybe. That is a big maybe. I don't know that. I couldn't tell you that. But there's normally backstage pre-tapes of him in, and there wasn't none.
Exactly.
But why would they give him publicity? Like, if that's me and I'm running TNA, well, A, Billy Corgan will be working for me, but B, if I was in the whole Dixie Carter shoes, I would be like, okay, I don't want him programmed, because then they're going to type in Billy Corgan and all this shenanigans are going to come up, so best just delete, and get out.
I mean, if I'm fucking Dixie Carter and there's a rock and roll god that's offering me millions of dollars to buy my failing company, you sell it to him. You don't fucking shit him out of it because he might be your last goddamn hope.
The funny thing is, because they were in a court case, they were not actually legally allowed to do any investment or any business transactions. Fight Network have, in essence, bought the company. So yeah. The Fight Network in Canada pretty much owns TNA. Which is funny, because Billy Corgan could have done that, and we could have been in no problem. There could have been no issue if they just let Billy Corgan buy it. There would have been none of this scandal crap, no court cases, which would have cost the company money. They wouldn't have had to pay back the loan, because Corgan would have made it back. The company's silly biddies.
I genuinely, I think we talked about this, I would be amazed if we see stuff coming out of January.
I won't be. Now the Fight Network have bought it. I will not. I would be surprised if it ended now, because of the Fight Network's investment. Like paying back a guy's loan of like $2.8 million. That's a point made saying, hey, look, we are behind you.
Last I checked, they hadn't paid him back yet. Have they paid him back?
I don't know. It's been quiet on both
I don't
fronts.
think that. Last I saw, he still had not been paid.
No, because I remember he sent a tweet saying he was going to sell his percentage to WWE, didn't he?
Yeah.
Let's face it, Vince isn't interested in 36% of TNA. Come on.
No.
God. What would that do for him? Would he make money? No. Would it cost him money? Maybe. I guess he could have some of their content on the network, but who would go, oh yeah, do you want to come to the WWE network because there's TNA programming on? No, come on. So you have a qualifying match. Again, the winners enter the number one contenders match, which they didn't explain to you. You have Abyss versus EC3. I thought the match was a bit slow, a bit dull, and to me, uninteresting. It
wasn't a great match.
No, it didn't click for me, and that's no disrespect to either one. EC3 got the win for Sleep Old, and what I liked about this is he tried his finisher, but he couldn't hit the finisher because Abyss is just too big, so he had to scramble and come up with a different idea, and just thought on the spot and did a super hold. I like that. It makes it look like he's thinking, not just, finish a win. Finish a win. It's different. I like that a lot, but not the match.
Also protect the finisher, because if they're not kicking out of your finisher, then you're not weakening it. And I really like EC3. And Abyss still gives me hope that as a overweight 27-year-old single father that works in retail, I could still be a professional wrestler.
Well, he got 2 spots on this show. That's kind of funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, we go back to the Hardy compound, because I don't really want to talk about that anymore. Skip that. If you're listening on, okay, should I watch TNA or not? This was a low point with the Tribunal and the Abyss stuff, so just skip it. We have the Hardy compound. Rebby plays their entrance song, but Matt doesn't understand. He doesn't remember it. Matt still dressed as the granddad, and Jeff wants him to go to the bike, which makes Matt Hardy a bit confused. Let me go to what I loved this segment. We had Jeremy Borash interviewing Gail Kim in the ring. Gail Kim, the TNA Hall of Famer and Knockouts champion. She brings out Jade. She puts over Jade quite emotionally, actually, and called her the future of not only TNA's Knockout division, which is a horrible name, but more importantly, the women's wrestling world in general. She talks as if she's going to retire. It does sound like she's going to retire, does it not?
No, yeah, definitely.
And then Rosemary and Decay come out, and they got great entrances, and I love their characters. I adore them. Rosemary mists Gale, hits a Death Valley driver on Jade. Abiz then even takes out Jeremy Borash, so Jeremy Borash is like, "Oi, that's my friend, douchebag." Rosemary then basically, chokes Gale as Steve holds Jade and makes her watch. And you're there like, oh no. And then she hits a coast to coast on Jade with the trash can lid, like Shane did to Vince at Mania 17. Heat. Now you want to see Gail Kim kick Rosemary's ass.
Exactly. Right. Rosemary is what I like, or Rosemary, excuse me. She's like what I like to call future ex-wife material. It's not necessarily a good thing, but yeah, I don't really like this segment. It's a good way of getting heat, and heat in this day and age, no matter what product you're in, is really, really fucking hard to get. And I think they pulled it off here.
I think they did. Can I ask you a question? Right, so I'm going to put the camera on you quickly. So behind you to my left, which will be your right, there is it's like a lunchbox type gimmick. What is it? Behind you to your right. Behind you to your right, this. Is it like is there an animal? Is there an animal?
That's like 2-year-old beer.
It's a 2-year-old. What is it? Oh, it's beer inside.
It's like a 2-year-old beer. I had a party down here like 2 years ago, and we fucking just beer everywhere, and it sat right there, and I just never moved it.
Oh, okay. It looked like it was like a cage, and you had some sort of insect or animal in there. And I can't stand animals, so I was about to say, get that out. I don't want to see it ever again. I like cats and dogs, but I don't like any. Like snakes, give me the creeps. Clowns, even worse.
What if it's a snake clown doing a death match in Mexico? Podcaster LK found dead in London.
And then after that amazing segment with some amazing heel heat, we had a qualifying match. Again, for the win. This is so hard to explain, which may be why they sucked at doing it. It's qualifying matches to qualify for a number one contenders match, and it's so awfully explained. You have Rockstar Spud versus Trevor Lee versus X Division champion DJZ. I do not like the fact that the X Division guys are wrestling for a shot of the world titles, and it makes the X Division title look unimportant, and the only thing that looks important is the world title. And I know that you want your world title to look very important, but here it looks like the X Division means shit.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest arguments I've had with Sam Roberts. I've had like a personal argument with Sam Roberts, but he thinks that
who?
Monday night, Sam Roberts, he's a big wrestling personality.
If you say so.
I actually really like his podcast. He does a bunch of really good interviews, but he keeps making the point that Monday Night Raw, the cruiserweights, should just look like they're part of Raw. He doesn't want them to look different. It's throwing people off, and I completely disagree. I think the cruiserweights should be in their own little bubble, in their own little pocket, because they're the cruiserweights. They don't qualify to be a heavyweight. Much as the heavyweights can't go for the cruiserweight title. So I agree with you there. I don't like X Division guys going for the heavyweight championship, even though at the beginning, from what listening to other people's interviews, especially Samoa Joe, the beginning of the X Division wasn't necessarily supposed to be just high flyers. It was supposed to be a little bit of everything. Like they were a real extreme division. Because Samoa Joe was part of the X Division when he first got to TNA. So, and not going to but yeah, I actually really like this match. Trevor Lee, I think I like him. I think I like him a lot, actually.
Oh, no. I'm not disrespecting the match or disrespecting the aspect of you have 3 X Division guys competing over the world title when you could have just done something with these guys in a storyline, because there is no stories or feuds in the X Division. It's like if you said to someone on the street, or not on the street, if you said to a TNA fan, who's the X Division champion? You'd go, DJZ. After a while of thinking, then you go, who's the number one contender? There probably isn't one.
No, not that I know of.
Not that I know of either, but this match was good. DJZ hit a nice running springboard flip to the floor. Lee slammed DJZ into Spud, which I liked. Lee hit not a German suplex, a deadlift German throw. He threw Spud across the ring, and then he hit a nice fisherman buster to get the win. Did really enjoy this. I like Spud. I love Spud's entrance. When Spud's entrance come out, because you hear like boom, 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 and you think, oh, it's going to be a good guy, and then it goes boom, boom, and then he comes out and he's like, I'm the little man, boom, boom, boom. I like Spud's entrance. I gave it 2.5 stars. I did enjoy this.
I did too. Probably 2.5 stars if I had to, put a gun to my head. I'm not really impressed with GJZ. I don't really care that much. I think I don't know. I'm just not impressed with him at all. Spud was good. He just has a stupid fucking name. If your name is Spud, you need to be some like ex-Vietnam biker that's so messed up on crank he doesn't know where he is, and he's 6'4" and 289 pounds. That's what I think of when I think of the name Spud. Oh, fuck me, whatever. But I really like Trevor Lee. I don't know what it is about him. I just really attached to him for some reason. I couldn't give you a qualifiable reason why. Then I just kind of meandered over to his corner.
He does good stuff in PWG. I've seen some of his stuff in PWG. He's much better than in I think he even beat Kevin Owens on.
Oh wow!
I think he beat him on one of his last nights, or he had a great match with him. It's either Trevor Lee or someone else, but I do think that he did beat Kevin Owens. So just because he's this spot in TNA, he's actually quite higher up in the card in the Indies. But we have a backstage segment with Aiden O'Shea, Robert E. and Grado. O'Shea says they're in a handicap match and tells Miss Lashley. Both walk off, and Grado go, well, we can try, which I thought was quite funny considering I hate both.
Yeah, this is the first time I've seen either of these two guys. I was like, I don't like you.
No,
I'm done here.
Especially Grado. Ali's backstage. She gets caught watching Braxton Sutter's matches from Brandy Rhodes, and they're actually dating. So Braxton Sutter is actually Ali's, I think, his boyfriend or husband, one or the other.
Okay.
Brandy basically asks her for help, but Ali says, I can't because I'm sorry, but Maria pays my bills. And I love that because then it gets that real, like we talked about earlier, that real feel backstage. Like she wants to, but she can't because Maria pays her bills. Like, I can't. Like, I want to. And then you feel for her. And she is eventually going to turn. But I'm worried that they're going to leave this too late. I'm really worried because sometimes you can slow burn it to a point, but you can burn it to the point where it's burnt and no one will care.
Oh, definitely.
Like, it should have happened months ago.
Something about when I see her just pisses me off. For some reason, I do not like. She gets on the screen, I get grumpy for a little bit. I cannot stand her backstage segments. That's all that I've seen for her. Because not see last week where apparently she had a match. So this shit was painful for me to watch. I totally didn't want to do it. Ugh.
Oh, well, that's sad. Well, I'm going to be excited when she turns, but anyway.
Well, you can be. She will be my sexy star in TNA. How about that? Because I could give a fuck.
Then we had Lashley versus Robbie E. and Grado in a qualifying match to determine a number one contender.
I like squash matches. I don't like, even though like I understand these people's position, I don't like squash matches with your in-house talent. That bugs me. Don't squash your own talent.
I like seeing Grado getting beaten. I don't like Grado, but like people love Grado and he has a massive fan audience. I don't like Grado. I'm putting it out. I do not like Grado. I can't stand him. I think he's out of shape. I think his comedy is like bearable. I find him amusing at times, otherwise boring. No, I just don't care. I want to see a guy. If I see him have a great wrestling match, I'll be like, he had a great wrestling match. Here he sucked. He's overweight, and I know that's his gimmick, but I do not care. I think he sucks. I'm sorry, opinion. Everyone has one. That's mine. Get over it. And that's not an insult, as Eli Drake would say. It's just a fact of life.
The match, literally, there was nothing fucking to talk about.
Nothing. Poor Lashley. He looked like, I'm going to keep my bandana on because it didn't fucking worth my time. And then we had in the locker room. So we have it's in a car. So it's in a car shot. And you have Aaron Rex. He's being an arrogant prick. Well, at least in my opinion anyway. So Rex walks up to Jesse, gets up the car. Jesse just starts kicking the shit out of him. And they're in the parking lot. They brawl inside some door. They come out the door. And I love the spot where he puts him in his face against the window. And he's like, no. and then Aaron Rex runs away. I love this because, again, it feels like there's a legit backstage area. It feels like there is one, and there is fighting. There is a parking lot. These are men with testosterone who they aren't just fighting in the ring, they're fighting everywhere, and that's what I love about TNA.
I do really like that feel. Lucha Underground is very, very good about it as well. Because Lucha Underground takes it to a step further, and Lucha Underground makes it seem like it's its own world.
Yeah.
And so, but TNA can't realistically do that. They've kind of have, but not to this extent. But yeah, I really like that. And the segment was fun. It was a good way to kind of prolong this feud and see that it's going to go somewhere new. I really like that. And I really like Aaron Rex, too. I don't know a lot about this Goddard's guy because I've only seen him once. But I've always thought Damien Sandow was pretty criminally underrated.
Yeah, I like this Jesse guy. He's got a great look, a great physique, and he's an okay worker. And here he showed he can have some aggressive character to him. I like that. And then we had Jeff Hardy. He's taking Matt on the bike ride. Matt hated this ride, and it's so fucking funny. Jeff wants him to get in the water. Matt doesn't want to because it's cold and disgusting. Jeff just throws him in, and that was rude. Said he's going to go to the impact zone on his own. So Matt stood there in the cold water in his granddad clothes. Absolutely hysterical. Then we have World Title time.
I thought it was pretty damn funny, and I'm wondering where they're going to go with this. If they're trying to fix broken Matt Hardy and make him just Matt Hardy again, or if they're going to try and bring back broken Matt. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think they're going to bring him back. I hope they bring him back because it's funny. Then we have TNA World Title time. Eddie Edwards defending against Eli Drake. This is Drake cashing in his Bound for Gold, which is where he won. It's the equivalent to winning the what's the Lucha Underground title, the Gift of the Gods title, where you have to cash it in 1 week in advance.
Okay.
It was a decent match. I enjoyed it. It went about 15 minutes. Drake hit a lovely slam on the apron, and the landing they did. We dissed TNA about their graphics and stuff. But they had a beautiful slow-mo of Edwards landing on the apron, and it looked cringeworthy.
Yeah, between the apron match and there was one where he did a dive, and he just caught the fucking guardrail directly on his chest. I was just like, man, that one looked fucking rough. Both of those were brutal as shit.
He literally dived through the ropes and just bounced off the barricade to the floor. Lucky the fans moved, otherwise they would have been bait. Edwards hit a nice superplex, but the camera angle got lower, which made it look even higher, which I really liked. Drake hit a lovely belly to back where he threw him up in the air and then transitioned in midair and hit a really nice chokeslam for 2 for a good near fall. And then Edwards hit the Boston knee, whatever the fuck it's called, to get the win. I enjoyed that. Drake looked credible here. He looked like he was deserving, and well, not deserving, sorry. It looked like he was... What's the right word I'm looking for? He looked comfortable in the main event picture, and it suited him. And that makes me happy, because I'm a big Eli Drake fan, and the guys went from literally this time 4 months ago, he was nothing, a worthless jobber. And they've taken this
Really?
guy. They have. He was a jobber. He was nothing. You said Eli Drake, you'd laugh. And he's now a guy in a world title picture. That's great writing. Then the BDC come out. I think it's the BDC. No, that's the Beatdown Clan. That's what they had fucking 5 years ago.
It was like BCC or CCB or CCD. I, honest to God, already forgot. It's not a very good name.
No. 3 freaks come out. They beat down on Eddie Edwards and then lay the world title belt on him. They unmasked, and it's Bram, James Storm, and Josh Matthews says an unidentified man, which is Eddie Kingston from the Indies.
Okay, cool. I was really excited to see James Storm. He was one of the people that I was looking forward to in watching in TNA because I've watched some of his old stuff and I really, really liked it, and I liked the few things he did in TNA or NXT. So I kept waiting for him to fucking show up. So it was cool to see him show up. From the past gimmicks I've seen from him, I did not expect this at all, which I guess is a good thing.
It's a good thing. He probably wanted this, something fresh, something different for him. And it just leads fresh stories up, because now we can have James Storm Eddie Edwards, we can have James Storm EC3. You could do so much, and I think it's going to be great. And Bram and Kingston getting this rub, I'm looking forward to seeing where it's going.
I'm curious. I'm very, very curious.
And please, ladies and gentlemen, even though we're curious, please do not post spoilers in the comments section. Because I tell you, on Raw, one of the reasons why I didn't watch Raw is because I was watching I'll be honest, I'll put the Pirates' Life for Me upside, and I was watching the Pirates, and it was one of these sites where on the right-hand side, there was the chat room. There was a big sign, no spoilers or you will be blocked. And this guy put the whole spoiler list on there. And I was like, you cunt. Everyone was writing on there, cunt, dick, cunt, dick, cunt, dick. I was like, you human motherfucker. Because basically I have the option of watching Raw or SmackDown in my lounge, or I can watch Raw and SmackDown in here. Now, the reason why I watch in here is I'm in this chair, which is very comfortable. But I will not be able to fall asleep sat like this. If I sit on my couch or my sofa, I will fall asleep. So what I do is I just watch it on my laptop, which means I have to go piratey. But I like it being, because I like it in here. Like if this was my second home, I would love this to be my second home. But if I didn't have a girlfriend, I'd put a bed over there. I'm not even joking. I'd put a bed, a fridge with some beer and Coke in, a microwave and a kettle.
That's what that is. I got my mini fridge. I don't actually spend a lot of time down here. We got a mini fridge. There's beer and water. You know, the only two essentials for all life. No food. And all my giant shit. That's it. That's all that goes on down here.
What? So is this like the basement?
Yeah, it's my basement. Okay. Not my mom's basement. My basement. My house. This is my man cave.
And this is my man cave. This is it's in the essence an office because there's loads of my dad's gimmick shit over there when he has his consultants around because he's a big bad boy. Well, not a big bad boy. Actually, he's just a good businessman. Anyway. When the overall summary of the show, did you really enjoy it, or did you think it was shit?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it enough. I still got some issues just because there's some glaring TNA issues. What I've become better at doing, though, is separating the issues TNA has as a company from the wrestling they put on in the ring. Because the first couple of weeks, it was hard to do. I wanted to be more like it, but it was very, very hard to do. And I've gotten a lot better about that.
We have some very interesting live comments here.
Mr.
Yeah, Sammy.
I thought the exact fucking same thing. I was trying so hard not to laugh fucking out. I have very, very seldom full-on laughed in someone's face. And I want to laugh in this person's face. I hope they're still watching because I want to laugh in your face. And I genuinely, part of me thinks that this is Dixie Carter. I think Dixie Carter is trolling our fucking videos right now. My name is guy on internet who doesn't lie for views. We know you, but you are lying. You are lying because you are Dixie Carter. And that is why we cannot be friends and trust you. Go home, Dixie Carter. You're drunk. Leave us poor, barely scraping by podcasters alone.
Well, speak for yourself. He loves it so much, he said it twice. He loved it so much, he said it twice. So nice, you got to say it twice. So damn. Because he put it twice, I must put it twice and shame him.
By all means.
Guy on the internet who doesn't lie for views. Corgan was a investor, so is Fight Network. Dixie is still the owner. Stop lying to people and spewing lies.
I
apologize.
never said fact. I went, last I checked, or I think.
Yeah, we said I think. And also, it's a little mistake. We said that the Fight Network now bought an investment in TNA, but they weren't meant to buy. The thing is, this guy is obviously some hardcore TNA fan who has TNA tattooed on his cock, which means he loves TNA to death. We just spent, let's see how long we spent. We just spent 37 minutes at this point putting the product over. We were saying we like the feel. We like the matches, we like the direction, we like pretty much everything. So if this guy just wants, TNA to be loved, we are loving it. If we just said one thing that we may have got wrong about, the Fight Network, because quite frankly, we don't really give a shit. We don't do backstage new politics or shit on this show. We just review pro wrestling. Yeah. We saw something about a press release from Impact Wrestling saying that they fucking were sold or whatever to Anthem, and the wording was awful. Then I'm sorry we got it wrong. I'm sorry if it offended you, and I'm sorry that we just put the product you love over so much. Jesus, we'll come out here and do a negative.
They've got to love it because it's Dixie fucking Carter. She doesn't have a fucking choice in the matter. You got to put over your own product. No, chill out, dude. It's not the big deal. It's fucking wrestling. It's wrestling. It is human monster trucks. It is barely clothed men tossing each other around a ring, and they're oiled. Just chill out, man. It's fucking chill. It's cool. Chill the fuck out. And that's part of, I think, a lot of the reasons. Because there's your TNA fans, and then there's your hardcore wrestling fans like us that watch every goddamn thing. And a lot of the people that are in our boat, I think, get turned off of TNA because of shit like this.
Yeah.
And that's not fair.
Exactly. We could have easily come on and buried this product because people would have been like, oh, yeah, those guys, they hate TNA. But we didn't. We gave it an honest review. You cannot deny. We may have got one fact wrong. I had to apologize, but we put the product over. Now, I just checked on this. He basically makes videos as well as he does TNA and Raw reviews. and he makes videos on people called Liars Episode 2. He did one on JD from New York and Heel Steven. So we're probably going to be the next one.
Oh, I hope so, dude. I want to put it over so hard.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, God, he must love his life. Anyway, we'll get to some real-life comments from Andy Paps, baby. I'm sorry I didn't answer you. He thinks EC3 is great. JB and Al Snow should be on commentary. I agree. JB on commentary is actually really good. Like, JB is legit a really good commentary. He did a show called Explosion in England, which was like a minor show, and he was really good on that. He said he feels bad for Corgan. Yep. And he says, go Giants.
Fucking go G-Man. We're barely fucking scraping by, brother, but we're fucking going to get there. You know, you're my boy, Andy Paps. You're my random, not from Alabama, New York friend for some reason. So go G-Man. Eventually, we do, and I'm sure LK was going to bring us up in a little bit. Me and LK have another show that we do split up. I'm going to be talking about some more wrestling and more than not wrestling, honestly. Like, where I want to talk about some football. I want to talk about some baseball. LK asked me to do a show about the election that I guess I'm going to do. I really don't want to fucking do it. I really don't want to do it.
After we do Elite, if we have enough time, obviously, depending on time, we should do it. And I want to join you for it because I think it could be so interesting bouncing off a guy who lives from the UK England, fuck Scotland it was, to a guy who lives in America.
It's if you had seen my Facebook over the last couple of days, it's been a fucking nightmare.
It has. But yeah, you can find it all over there. I'll put the link in the description so you all can check the channel out. It's just a small channel that we just started so that we can just talk pro wrestling news. I want to do news, not fucking news about Anthem, but news about upcoming shows like Evolve, etc. And we also did some President. I reviewed a TV show and drama called National Treasure, which was an absolutely brilliant show, which I recommend everyone to watch on Channel 4. Anyway, this is a pro wrestling review on a pro wrestling channel, so we'll get back to pro wrestling. Our next show will be Lucha Elite review, because unlike that guy, we actually review other independent pro wrestling shows, where we'll be covering CMLL. Guy who lies for views, please do not bury us on a video. If you do, send it to us.
Please do. Please. I would love some YouTube beef. Because people are like, he's just this fat bald buster. I'd be like, I bet you like bacon with your bacon, you fucking fuck. Like, things that aren't offensive at all. It's like, why don't you get a job, you bum? Why don't you stop wearing makeup, you pretty lady? Just, please do, dude, fucking do it. Because nothing you can say can hurt my feelings. I promise. Nothing you can say is going to get under my skin. Try.
Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Stay safe, stay well. Fuck them clowns. We'll be catching your asses down the line.